Hey, how's it going? So today I'm coming to you with a different approach to selling that you haven't considered. And I want to go ahead and share that approach with you here today. If you happen to be catching this video live, do me a favor, hit pound live. Let me know where you are catching this video from, where you're tuning in from. And if you happen to be catching this video via the replay, do me a favor and hit pound replay and let me know where you are tuning in from. So now a different approach to selling that you haven't considered. As a business owner, your job is to sell, right? The more you can sell, the more successful you will be. However, have you considered that sometimes the approach that you're using may not necessarily be conducive, and it may not necessarily be positioning you the way that it should be positioning you, which is why I want to jump on today to share with you an approach. And essentially, you know how sometimes you're introduced to something, but based on you being introduced to it, you don't necessarily know how it's applicable. So, for me, I'm going to talk about two different approaches. And I was introduced to these different types of approaches many, many years ago, but I had no idea what they were and how they might be applicable to, to business, and how they may be applicable to selling. So in my time here on this earth, I had the opportunity to be part of different interviewing committees, right? So when I was part of these different interviewing committees, I had two different types of people that I was interviewing. The first type of person I was interviewing is an individual who was basically interviewing for an entry-level type of position. So let's just say that this individual had an experience. That person worked as a customer service person, and based on working as a customer service person, that person was applying for another customer service position in which I was part of the interview committee. So as part of the interview committee, some of the questions that we asked an individual who has that experience is, hey, do you have experience as a customer service person? The person said yes. And in our mind, at least in my mind, I said to myself, okay, this person has customer service experience, even though they were being a customer service person for a different product or a different company. I said to myself, you know what, my team, we can train this person because they have the experience. And if we train them, if they understand our products and our services, then they can go ahead and fill the role of this entry-level customer service experience. So the lens that I looked at that through was that person has the experience and that person is trainable. They can be trained, and once they're trained, they will understand how to benefit and how to go ahead and work within our company. So that's one approach. That's the approach that I have the experience, I am trainable. The second approach is I have a process, and that process can help your company do X, Y, and Z. So the other type of interview processes I've been part of interview processes where the companies that I work for, we were recruiting executives. So let me give you an example. I remember, being part of this interview process and working for a university. The university, in order for the university to keep their accreditation, they needed to make sure that they have a certain pass rate. So let's just say for the medical program, they needed to show the state that, hey, on any given basis, the percentage of people that are graduating and that are passing from this program is, let's just say that it's 75%. Well, I've been part of, committees and universities that was not meeting that 75%. If they're not meeting that 75% pass rate, they are at risk of losing the license. They are at risk of losing the program. Well, the good news is that there's people out there that have successfully, managed pass rates. They've successfully managed departments, and they've helped those departments attain and or accomplish 80% or 75% and above pass rate. Well, at one point we were seeking that type of person, and in seeking that type of person, I was part of the interview committee, and that interview was a little bit different. And the reason why that interview was different was that when that person came in, that person talked about their process. That person said, hey, I know that you're looking for someone that can manage and that can help you to maintain your pass rate. Here's my process. Here's my methodology that I have used to help organizations just like yours, reach this pass rate and exceed this pass rate. So essentially what that person was talking about, that person was just talking about their process and their methodology. And because that person already had a different process and a different methodology, right? The approach was a lot more different. Not only was the approach a lot more different, that person had positioned themselves differently. That person could ask for a lot more money, and the selling process for that person was a lot different. Let me give you just one more analogy. The last analogy that I think about is a basketball analogy. I think about Phil Jackson as a head basketball coach for the NBA, and I think about how well this individual has done. And I think about, and don't quote me on this because I could be quoting this incorrectly, but I think about the fact that this individual had an offense that was called the triangle offense. That offense was called the triangle offense, and Phil Jackson understood the triangle offense very well. He understand what players he needed to put in the different stages of the triangle offense, and he knew how to take a group of individuals and how to optimize the triangle offense. So Phil Jackson wasn't going in and saying, I have the experience. Once you train me, I can contribute. Phil Jackson was saying, I already have a process, and that process is a triangle offense. And that triangle offense, I know what players to put in that triangle offense, and I know how to optimize that triangle offense. So as you can see, that approach is a lot different per se. And that approach is, I have a system, I have a methodology, and here's how that methodology is going to help to fill the gaps in your business. I'm working with someone right now, and I'm helping that person to develop that exact same thing. I'm saying, hey, this is the approach that we're going to take from a sales standpoint, and this is how we're going to position ourselves to the marketplace. Because I've seen when you position yourself that way to the marketplace, you position yourself in a way that's new, you position yourself in a way that's different, and you are positioning yourself in a way that gives the audience a sense of authority and a sense of, oh, this person already has something that's already planned out. They're simply going to see what gaps I have, and they're going to plug me into their process. They're going to plug me into their methodology, and that in itself is going to allow me to have success. By the way, if you need help with developing that sales process, and if you need help with developing that methodology, there's a couple of ways that we can engage. There's going to be a link somewhere around this video, and that link is simply going to give you the opportunity to schedule a time and to speak with me and to see if we are a good fit. If to see, my methodology is called the web selling method, and to see if that web selling method can be a good fit to help you to fill the gap and or a sales process for your business. There's going to be a link somewhere around this video, and if you're watching this on some type of social media platform, just send me a message and just send me a DM with the word WSM. So that's essentially the approach that I wanted to speak to you guys about is, look at your process, look at your methodology, and position yourself kind of like these executives were positioning themselves. And and I saw that the individual that positioned themselves that way made the sell easier. Not only did they make the sell easier, the other thing is that they commanded a lot more money. Right? So if you're not already using that process, if you're not already using that methodology, I encourage you to start using it right now. And if you don't know how to, right, if you don't have a sales process or methodology that's going to allow you to position yourself that way, well, let's talk and see if it makes sense for me to help you to deploy, because I already have that methodology, I already have that process, and I'm already helping other individuals to employ that same process and that same methodology in their business. Mine is called the web selling method. And it has 4 different steps. And then based on those 4 different steps, inside of those steps, one of the steps is to help you to, develop that process if you don't already have it. Because you may have the knowledge or the expertise, but you don't know how to develop that process. If you do, I encourage you to go and develop it right away and use it as part of your marketing process. If you don't, then we can have a conversation. I see there's a handful of you guys that had the opportunity to tune in. Thanks for, tuning in. Pound live if you happen to be live. I see we have some people in there from California. I think we saw some people in there from Georgia earlier on today. Pound live if you happen to be catching this live. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And or pound replay if you happen to be catching this via the replay. All right, take that approach, go implement it, and go ahead and deploy that process so that way you can go ahead and get more sales, for your business. That's it for now. I'll talk to you soon.